Hey everyone, welcome to another Mastermind Advisor podcast. I'm here with Josh Woodward. My name is Vince Oldry, and today we're going to talk about the marketing schedule. And I think this is really important because if you do the wrong dates, the wrong times, you will not have the best results. So coming from me and someone like Josh who has run, I don't know how many different seminars, countless seminars, this is a big deal. We should not take it lightly. So we'll go through that here today, but also, I wanted to quick bring up the story because Shannon in our office was talking to me about this one advisor, and Shannon's, a great sales guy, but he was talking to me about why would this guy do other marketing if he's doing our marketing? And I kind of told him, well, he's used to doing other marketing. Even though it's not working very well, he's used to doing it. He doesn't want to leave it until this is working for him. Because this is a guy that just started up with us. And I don't know if he listens to our show or not, but he's doing college planning workshops. You probably know who I'm talking about.
Yep. Now I do.
And he does them on Saturday mornings, I think. Yep. And he maybe will bring in like $100,000 in assets under management, maybe do an IUL, maybe a small annuity, but he's basically grinding to get that much in production. And I think it's just not like, so Shannon's like, why would you do that? Why don't you just do ours? And you already know ours works. Why wouldn't he just, because he's spending like $5,000 into that system and he's barely getting stuff in. Why wouldn't he just do ours? I'm like, I totally get it, man. I think the biggest thing, and this happened with me, because I used to do dinner seminars. I didn't pivot from the dinner seminars right away. I want to continue to do the dinner seminars while I switched to doing the educational workshops. And then I wanted to, didn't give up the educational workshops because I still wanted to do the when I was doing the webinars. And so I think there's that mind shift that we have. But then there's the other side of this where advisors like myself, we all have these really good ideas, right?
Every single one of you do. Yes. Yeah. Everyone has the next idea. So
right, we have the next idea, and unfortunately, a lot of those don't work. And if you have this great idea, I'm almost going to say I've probably have done it or tried it. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. I maybe tried it and it just wasn't for me. I was just talking to like a lead program the other day, and he's like, well, yeah, our leads, we'll give you 50 financial planning leads a month. I'm like, okay, so they're leads, so they're not booked on my calendar. Where do they come from? So he didn't give me a lot of information on like where they came from, just kind of came from a website, Facebook lead form. We all know how we feel about that. I'm like, well, man, I don't know if they'll be that qualified. He's like, yeah, and they're also younger. I'm like, okay, yeah, probably not a good fit for me. But I do that because I want to know what else is out there. I want to know if there's something that we could be doing better, if there's something else that's out there. But it brought me back to, hey, we should talk about the schedule. We should talk about the timing of this, because if you don't do this part, which is very simple, if you don't do this, you're not going to have good results anyway.
Yeah. I mean, and this is key. I mean, the funny thing is, like, when you're saying this, we have most certainly tried, I would say 98% of things. For those of you that don't know Vince, he's kind of the one that's like, hey, I saw this, let's give it a try, grip and rip. I want it done tomorrow. Let's launch and get it going, right? So it's like, with Vince, like, more than likely when I talk to advisors, it's been done. We've tried it. There are things like, even to like today, like, or recently, we just launched a women's only webinar because someone wanted to give that a whirl. We haven't done it yet, so let's try. In an instance like this, it's opposite, right, of what we're kind of saying, because it's actually it's doing well, right? But most things that we talk about with Vince's personality in particular, he's always like, it's CFG, let's grip, let's try it. He spends his own money right away, right? And so it's like instantly tested. And then for other advisors, I know the transition's hard, right? Because I think every advisor I talk to has been burned from one thing or another, so they're always like cautious when they come in. And a lot of that's just due to our industry. There's a lot of people in here that don't know what they're doing or aren't financial advisors. They don't know who you're trying to target, right? And so I get it, right? Wait until you have something that works, then maybe do the transition. But it's funny that certain things like that we talk about, where they're buying leads and they just want to continue buying those leads. But until our system works, it's like, well, let's maybe talk about that a little bit more. But as for today's podcast, yeah, this is perfect timing. Tis the
season of marketing.
Workshop. Yeah. This is like, I feel like this is like Christmas for advisors. They come back from summer vacation, or like they just want to hit it hard, right? Try to hit those goals before December comes. So,
yeah, I know there's a lot of you that want to do seminars, especially during September, October, maybe not so much November. If you know anything as far as what I do seminars and webinars every month. I don't stop. I am selective as far as my dates go. So I'll still do them in November, still do them in December, but I'm very selective on my dates. When it comes to what we do now, I have been, like, our firm, we're over 100 million now, which is great, but we've done over 20 million so far this year. And I look back at like our schedule. Mike is doing about 4 seminars a month, and we're also doing the webinars. And then I'm also helping some advisors, just on the consulting side of things. So I think the biggest thing is to kind of go through the schedule. But when I thought about like our pal that's doing the college planning stuff, there are advisors that did take the leap of faith, and they said, "Hey, Vince, will you at least just do my appointments with me?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll do the appointments with you." And the deal there is I get the AUM, they do the annuity. That's how that side works. And so these guys are doing this, they were doing other seminars or something like that, and they just weren't working, or they weren't as good at the sales side. I don't know which, but they started doing the seminars. They were doing our webinar still, but they're getting closings. Like, they're getting people to close. And the biggest thing to kind of go through is the timing of this. So when we run seminars, there's the advertising part of it, and then there's the when to actually hold your event. Now, when we advertise 3 to 2 weeks out. We only do weekends. But when we actually do our seminar, we're doing them Tuesdays and Thursdays almost religiously. We don't really try to do Wednesdays. There's potential conflict there with doing a religious thing there. So we're constantly doing Tuesdays, Thursdays. I don't like giving up my weekends, so I won't do anything on the weekend. I don't know. I really don't give up. I kind of have like a 3 or 4 day work week, I guess you could say.
It's weird. It seems getting less and less every
doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any meetings on Monday. I don't have any meetings on Friday. I only do meetings on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But hey, it works. So I don't know what else to say. I know a lot of people want to get there. I think I wanted to get there when I was younger. Wanted to be just meet on 3 days a week, and it just took me a little bit to get there. Now, Mike, on the other hand, in my office, he's growing his book, so he's just meeting with everybody whenever he can. He's getting a little bit more selective on his evening appointments. But I will do 4 seminars a month, and the way that we do it is we have 3 locations, at least 3 locations. Right now we're doing a little bit more than that because we were going to bring on another advisor that didn't come on board. And so funny story there is we did a seminar where we thought he was going to come on board in a different part of town, and we brought on $1 million client. So that was kind of funny. But I know. Let's try it over here. We've never done one over there. And then we go do one, and he decided not to work with us. And Mike went over and did the seminar, and got $1 million client from it. So I guess too bad for that guy. But Tuesdays and Thursdays, key. What else works besides Tuesdays and Thursdays? I know you get to see the numbers way more than I do. And some people still say, hey, let me do a lunch workshop, or let me do a Saturday or Monday or Friday. I mean, we even had an advisor at one point do a one the day after New Year's Eve. So on New Year's Day, he did a seminar. So, by the way, Josh and I are this is Friday, by the way. So Josh and I are pretty casual right now. I know if you're just listening to us, you can't see us, obviously. So we're pretty casual. If you're watching us on YouTube, great. Again, if you need to go to our YouTube channel, it's go to YouTube, just look up Mastermind Advisor. You can see all of our past marketing videos and that kind of thing. But we decided to have a beer Friday. So we'll cheers, man. I forgot to do that at the beginning here. Cheers. And we actually have custom made Mastermind mugs. So with our name on it.
Fancy now.
All right. So sorry, going back to the question. What other days work? I know I only do Tuesday, Thursdays. I'm really religious about that.
Yeah.
But what other days work?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll tell you the ones that don't work, right? Wednesdays, obviously, because it's like, and this will depend on an area a lot of times, because like I've seen Wednesdays do pull well. But like in my area, it's very Dutch. And so like very Catholic. And so for older people, they go to Wednesday church. They go to Wednesday service instead of Sunday.
You do look Dutch, by the way.
Thank you. I'm not actually not Dutch, but I'm Cuban. Just kidding. But anyways, Sundays, so it's Sundays and Wednesdays are like their church days. And so like I always stay away from Wednesdays. Mondays and Fridays, I strongly recommend no one marketing on those days. Fridays in particular, because it's right before the weekend. People may register, but your show rate drops dramatically because everyone's like last minute, like, oh, it's nice out. I'd rather go to X, right? Mondays, it's been a long weekend. I really don't want to go to a class after I just worked all day or had my whole day with the grandkids or whatever, So Tuesdays, Wednesdays work the best. 6:30 is the perfect time frame. Yes, it's during dinner time or it's just after dinner time, but just those times work. Don't have to provide food, obviously, or anything like that. People show.
What about lunch?
I've seen it work and I've seen it not work. And when it works, it works okay, right? And when it doesn't work, it's drastically bad. So like luncheons or whatever, it's really going to depend on the location, but it's very hit or miss. It's not consistent. So like if you're going to create a marketing calendar, right, you should always just focus on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 or 6:30. It's just consistently results that constantly pull in decent numbers and have a good show rate. You do luncheons, it's very hit or miss on the day, the location. One, you provide lunch then too, right? And then Saturday mornings I've seen work really well. And that's for the advisor that wants to work Saturday mornings. But like a Saturday morning class has pulled pretty well. So like if I were to rank days that work, Tuesday is probably number 1, Thursday is number 2, Saturday is probably number 3. The rest of the days rank close to the bottom. So, and then evenings. Obviously, Saturdays are mornings, but Tuesday and Thursday evenings, we can go back to luncheons, right? And I have seen it work. It does from time to time, but
let's think about that though.
It's like 50.
Everything that you've mentioned though is for the convenience. Like the Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays is for the convenience of the potential prospect, right? Yes. It's not the convenience for the advisor. And I think that's why advisors want to do launches, because then it's during the day. They don't have to take time out of their night. And so they just really want that stuff to work. They really want some of those other dates or times to work because they just, honestly, some of you guys just don't want to put the work in. I mean, let's face it. I mean, that's part of it. So you guys would rather just do lunches. Well, look, I mean, it's just not going to perform as well. End of story. And it still might work okay. It's just not going to work as well as if you did a Tuesday or Thursday night.
Yep. And the consistency is not there. So if you don't want to work as much, then do webinars and play the long game, right? If you're going to do seminars, my strongest recommendation is just Tuesday, Thursday. That's one campaign. Use both of those classes and just do 2 evening night classes. It's consistently pulls in the best results. So yes, you have to work a late night 2 days that week, but if you're trying to do the best results and grow it, that's the way to do it all those times.
Now, if we're doing webinars, we've gone around and around on the webinars. The webinar is a little bit different. Now, the webinars we run on auto, so it's less time consuming for me to run a webinar. And my webinar runs at 11:30 a.m. on Tuesday and Thursday, as well as 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday and Thursday. We used to run it just Wednesday, I believe. Wednesday in the evening.
Yeah, we still have some advisors that will run on Wednesdays at 11:30 and 6:30. When it comes to webinars, it's going to depend on where we're marketing for some places. But when it comes to webinars, and when he says it's automated, it still looks and feels live. He just recorded it. We put it into the system, and so it's on. That part's autopilot, right? It's not on demand, but those are the set days and times that people can attend. If they can't attend, all right, well, you got to register for next week, that kind of thing.
We don't send out the replay.
Yep, don't send out the replay. No, there's certain people that I have send out replays, but it's funny when they do that. I'm like, don't, because if they schedule an appointment, they're probably not going to show, and it shows every time, which is funny. But yeah, we just recently actually switched to Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's actually pulled pretty well. And I think more so we did that just so like your appointments are a little bit more scheduled out, right? It's more of a span. We used to do it on Wednesdays, right? And then your appointments would be always Thursday. And then you have Fridays and Mondays blocked off. So it'd be like Thursday, Tuesday, right? And then some advisors would be like, all their appointments would be booked on Thursday and Friday. Now we do Tuesday, Thursday. Appointments are spread out through the whole week, right? And so that's the main reason to do it. They pull about the same, but your appointments are just spread out throughout the whole week instead of it just being right Thursday, Friday, right after,
So when it comes to scheduling, we should talk about also when we schedule our appointment, because our appointment is not scheduled out very far, just like you're talking about. It was scheduled Thursday, Friday, at most a week out. I don't like doing anything more than 10 days out from when the webinar happened. If Dale calls somebody, he will maybe do it. I have a set rule, though, that if it's not booked within 10 days, you cannot put it on my calendar. Like what he'll do is he'll say, "Oh, we'll pencil it in," but he knows he cannot put it on my calendar. Like it's a big no-no. He used to put appointments on my calendar that would be like 30 days out or 2 months out, and they would never show. I'm like, this is pointless. You're blocking time on my calendar, and then we wait and wait and wait and wait. We get to that actual date, and they don't show. I'm like, there's no reason why I need to put them on my calendar. There's absolutely, if you want to have a set time to call them to then schedule a real date, that's fine. But we do not book appointments unless it's within 10 days. I prefer a week, but that's my hard rule, and he knows it now because him and I have gone after it. I don't know, more than once. Because what will happen is he'll follow my rule for like a little while, and then he'll start he'll start to drift over and not follow my rules, and then bring him back over here, bring him back into my rules, and it's simple. I just look at the numbers. That's it. I just track. How many people did I meet with within the first week? How many people did I meet with in the second week? And then you can go further out, and you can track who is actually coming in to meet with you. And if you have a lot of no-shows that far out, then there's no point of putting them on the calendar. Don't even book the appointment. So, all right. So we'll recap a little bit here. Seminars, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, if you really want to do that. Webinars, we do Tuesdays, Thursdays. We do live workshops during the day. Live webinars during the day, but they are pre-recorded, so I'm not actually doing it. I think the reason why we do that is because of COVID, right? So COVID happened and a lot of people working from home. It's a lot easier for people to just hop onto a webinar than it is to go drive somewhere for a lunch or something like that. So, or people could be working,
Yeah. People are in their office, and that's one reason why I think 11s work okay with webinars, right? Because they can watch it while they're in the office, or while they're watching the grandkids at home. They don't have to drive somewhere and take the middle of their day off or out or whatever. They can just pop up on their laptop, or they're already in front of their screen in the office, so they can watch it then. That's why I think webinars are fine at 11:30. But you start thinking luncheons, people are either leaving work, taking time off, or you're just kind of interrupting the middle of their day. And that's why I don't think
Right.
in person, middle of the day, not ideal. Webinars, middle of the day, probably more than fine. Or are more than fine. I can say that confidently.
As far as schedule goes, I know there are some advisors that we work with that will do one night or they'll do 2 nights. We prefer to do 2 nights to advertise. I really don't know why you do one night, but unless like the venue doesn't give you 2 nights. That's the only time we've...
Yeah, I can tell you why, but I mean, it's all ego-based. It's all, they want 30 people in that room, right? 30 households in that room instead of splitting it up like 10 and 10, or they want one extremely packed room. That's why every advisor wants to do it that I've experienced, right? Unless there's a conflict, but anyone that I've met with and they're like, man, I just want to do a Tuesday, just like, okay. So just to go back to this, like we market for 2 days. Our budget is $2,500 in ad spend, right? And we're marketing 3 days or 3 weekends prior. And that 25 can fill 2 dates, Tuesday and Thursday. You're given options. And those options, you most likely will have, 5 to 10 households at max in those classes. That's what you prefer, right? So 10 to 18 people, right? And that's kind of like, that's the numbers you like. Those are the numbers that perform the best on appointment scheduling because you can get personal. The other advisors want you to spend a little less, right? Their budget's a little friendlier, but they want one full room. And it's just, again, that just all comes back to ego, and they think they can book more appointments because everyone thinks like, oh, wow, look how many people are at my class. Like, so that's...
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I've been there where I've been to a class where like there's 2 or 3 people there. And you're like, oh, man, this sucks. This looks bad on me.
Not to interrupt,
but the funny thing is,
you get.
Yeah, the funny thing is, like, every time I do that, though, I get $1 million client. So, like, I look back at it, I'm like, all right, I just need to just pretend like this is a good thing. But I've looked at the numbers, too. If you have more than 20 people in the room, you're actually not able to connect with people that well. So I've done seminars where I've had 30 or 40 people in there, and I've had people where there's 5 or 10 people in there. And what ends up happening is like the sweet spot tends to be if I have about 8 to 12 households in there. Okay, so that's like the ideal, because I know about half the amount of people in there will book an appointment with me. So it's not if I have like a room that's got 30 or 40 people in there, I'll still only book like 6 or 7 or 8 appointments. It's not like I'm going to get a ton more appointments. So that, that thought of, oh my gosh, people are here for me. No, that's not it at all. People are there for themselves. And we talked about that last week. People are there for themselves. And then what happens is they start to like you as you're going through the seminar, and then they might want to meet with you. That's all that's happening there. So to have that many people in there, I think is a disservice. I think that's hurting yourself. I think, part of this, I think, is the dinner seminar. When we used to do the dinner seminars, we had like 10 to 20 households in there. And we would feel like crap if we did not have anybody at a dinner seminar. I mean, yeah, it sucked because I'd be pissed because I had a minimum food anyway that I had to pay for. So I'd be pissed, versus like when I'm doing these, I don't have a minimum, like the rent the room, it's like $50, who cares? So, there's ad spend, but that's not the point. Like I need one client out of the deal. That's it. I don't need 30 or 40 clients. I need one client out of the deal, and that's it. So we already know that my ego is pretty big. So we'll lay that out there. Ego's already big. And as I always tell people, my ego is always going to be bigger than yours, even though it's not. But I like to pretend it is.
Still out on that one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The best part about doing seminars, though, is that's your time to actually connect with people. Pretend it's like your first appointment, and that's all that you need it to be. Okay, you don't need to do a sales presentation. It just needs to be like you're giving them a lot of free education, good knowledge, so they'll want to work with you later. And I can't. I hate if there's actually too many people in the room. Yeah, it sucks if you only have like, let's say 3 people in the room. It happens every now and then because I live in Minnesota. It might be like -20 out, people don't show up, or there might be a snowstorm, people don't show up, and I still go because there's 1 or 3 people that might show up, and those are the serious people, right? Those are the people that are there for the right reasons. So you still want to do it, and you still have to look at that. I know Derek, the guy that I work with pretty closely, he had a library that did really well. Then he decided to do it at some other location, I think like a community center that we really didn't recommend, but he did it anyway because he needed like another location, and it bombed. Like there wasn't that many people there in comparison, so he was a little bummed out, right? There was like 5 households there, so he was like, "Oh, it sucked." Well, the funny thing is, we've written 2 clients just from that one seminar.
That's crazy.
And so he's already written like, I think it's like 800. He does just annuities only. So he's written 800,000 annuity because one was 3, one was 5. Well, maybe it was 600,000 in annuity just from that one seminar, right? And then I brought on some AUM from that. So I think it's important to understand. Okay, going back again, Tuesdays, Thursdays are key. Then you can do Saturdays. Webinars, Tuesdays, Thursdays. You can do some during the day for the webinars. I don't know, like the other scheduling, but we do, for us anyway, we do 4 seminars a month. And 4 seminars a month should bring you about $2 million a month in new assets. When you add in the webinars, which we do, we're bringing, again, we've already hit 20 million for the year. So I guess we'll be close to doing, it's August already. Well, my goal was to do more than 36 million this year, so we should hit that. So if you want to do about 2 million a month, do 4 seminars a month, or do enough in ad spend for webinars to hit the same goal. Otherwise, if you do the same amount of ad spend that we do for webinars, you should be doing about $1 million a month.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, you run them all seminars all the time too, but if you're concerned about your cost per result, again, the reason why Vince will run seminars in November and December and all that stuff is because he's aware. It literally will take, one client, he gets the ROI, right? But a lot of advisors I talk to, I will actually tell them like, all right, August, September, October, perfect times to run classes, right? November, December, you should be focusing on your ad spend for webinars. January, February, March, April, seminars, and then maybe in the summer you do. I think summers you can definitely be successful with both. But again, all depends on location and how many winter storms you have, and are people going to make it, things like that. Again, the reason Vince does it all the time is because he just knows like if 2 people show, he's booking 2 appointments, he might close 1. He's got his ROI right there, right? And that's what matters. If it's a numbers game and an ego thing, then maybe you stay away from, Decembers and Novembers, and careful around holidays, obviously, and stuff like that. But just another food for thought.
Yeah, it's a good point. I guess I'm a big numbers guy, so I look at the numbers. I think a lot of advisors like to think they're numbers people, but if you guys are numbers people, then you would understand that your sales are going to ebb and flow. But if you track your numbers, okay, so this is what always gets me. Someone will do a seminar, they'll say it flopped, right? And then they'll write some business, but then they don't even know where that business came from. And it came from that one seminar that they stopped doing because they said it sucked, it didn't work, whatever, right? And then 3 months later, they wrote some business from it, and then they're like, I'm off to the next thing, right? We run stuff consistently because there are venues that don't perform as well. Some perform really well. Sometimes I'll go to the same venue, it performs really well one week, the next month it might not perform as well. That's okay, because I'm not looking for how many people are there as much as I am looking for how many appointments are we booking and how many people are we meeting with and are we getting enough business to come in the door. So I never stop marketing. I never stop the pipeline. I also have an advisor that's doing the business too. And I'm looking to add on more advisors internally. Again, I think I brought this up last week. Someone's like, hey, why would you, if this is so good, why would you let other people use the system? Well, good point. I don't know, because there's plenty of fish in the sea. But yeah, I want to bring on more advisors internally. And I think we could do really corner the market, at least in Minnesota, and bring on 3 or 4 more advisors in house. And my goal is to go to $1 billion. I think I can do that in less than 10 years if I bring on just 4 advisors. If I brought more than that, great. I don't know. I don't want to manage that many people, but I guess I'm managing too many people on the marketing side anyway. I let Josh manage all those people.
He doesn't manage anyone on the marketing side, just so you guys know, but we'll go on.
Come on.
I'm kidding. I'm in Michigan in my basement. He's in the actual office with all the employees, so I can say that.
That's right. Yeah. We got a ping pong table, a giant couch. I mean, yeah, we do a lot of work here. But
yeah, I just heard of an Xbox possibly being purchased.
I already bought it. It's at home, but I do have a kegerator, and I was like, hey, I want to have a cool office. Cool offices have a kegerator, ping pong table. You got snacks.
You wanted a good creative space, right? That's what.
Yeah, I wanted a cool space.
A creative, so people can be creative and help advisors with that stuff. So.
What's next though is I really want the dome hockey. Have you heard of dome hockey?
Yes, I've heard of dome hockey. Yes.
Yeah, I need that. I need dome hockey. But anyway, so if you have any questions on marketing or anything like that, make sure you go to mastermindadvisor.com. You can check out a bunch of our marketing there. Also, make sure to check out our YouTube channel, because Josh and I talk about how to do marketing, how to build funnels, all that stuff. So make sure to go check out our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and search for Mastermind Advisor. Make sure you like and subscribe. That helps us out a little bit gives us motivation to keep doing this stuff. It's always fun to hear you guys when you guys email us back. And I think some of you troll us a little bit by, saying, hey, thanks. I'm saying this all to my marketing team. So, we're helping you guys out there on some free consulting. So yeah, you're welcome. But, Josh knows what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. But otherwise, again, back to the marketing real quick on times, dates, Tuesdays, Thursdays. Last thing though, sorry, because it's coming to the end here. I stay away from holidays. Okay, so I stay a week away from each side of the holiday. So I don't do anything with it. If there's 4th of July, I'll wait a week after 4th of July, and I'll make sure I'm not doing anything the week before 4th of July. So make sure you keep the holidays in mind there. And then just be consistent. Make sure you keep doing marketing. Don't just do one seminar and stop. You got to do constantly do them every single month. Rotate different venues. All right. And then before you know it, you'll be doing 1, 2, maybe even 3 million a month, depending on how big your practice is. So again, thank you for listening. Make sure you go to our podcast channel, or make sure you follow it. Go to our website if you have any questions, mastermindadvisor.com, or go to our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to it, so that way you get all the latest content. Anything else to add, Josh?
We can drop it there.
All right. Yeah, my beer's out, so I need to get another one. So, all right, guys. We'll talk to you next time. We'll see you later.